hamstring. What that happened during the game Sunday, or is that something you've been dealing with?
I think based on the rules, you have to maybe put down anything you're getting treatment for. So, yeah, I got treatment yesterday for my, little hamstring tightness and my knee. So.
Did that affect you at all in the game?
Not really. No.
Aaron, what you're kind of dealing with now. I mean, I think you had talked to us previously about your knees, the hamstring, the ankle. I mean, that's a lot of your lower base. Is it impacting how you're throwing in terms of if you can plant, if you can drive, things of that nature?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I feel good on game days. The ankle responded really well. I just have some swelling in my knee from time to time, but I don't think it's going to be an issue.
How do you feel about Hassan Reddick in the building?
Yeah, I'm excited to see him in here. It's been, probably a process for him, so we're just going to put our arms around him and embrace him and hope that, he can help us out this Sunday.
Aaron, I'm sure football has always come naturally to you, easily to you. Has this year been...
No, not really.
Oh,
I didn't say that, no.
Well, has this year been harder than you thought it would be, just physically and getting the team all together and going in the right direction?
I mean, every year presents its own challenges, and thankfully we're not to the denouement of this season. There's still a lot of time left. I think it's important that we all just stay as sanguine as possible. It's a long season. There's a lot of ups and downs. We've had a lot of adversity already this season. We just got to stick together and get one and then start to build off of that.
New vocabulary words today. Yesterday you mentioned like the team being like have to play less angry and less tight.
I said, yeah, me, really. I was taking the angry part on me, yeah.
You have to play less angry?
We all have to play more loose, I think, for sure. Maybe I didn't, use the proper eloquence when I was on there, but what I was trying to say was I think that when you're out there, we need to get rid of any anger or frustration and be able to move on and remember how much we love the game and play with the excitement and the joy. I think that was whatever was going on game day. We all, didn't maybe have the same type of spirit, that we usually do. And I just took it on me. I got to lead with that type of joy and energy each week so that it gives a permission slip for everybody to enjoy themselves a little bit more. I'm very critical and hard on myself and want to play as well as possible, want to play better. But, we need to play looser. So, we're still figuring things out in a lot of ways, but energetically we got to find that balance of accountability with the forgiveness to be able to make mistakes and guys not playing out of fear but playing for the love of the game.
How do you go about getting everybody to get to that state?
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it has to be each individual first, being critical of themselves, but then being able to move on. I think we all got to move on better from bad plays. Sometimes there's too much stuck energy in one thing that happens. I get frustrated about interception for sure. I got to model maybe a little bit better, like moving on and just moving on to the next play. So I'm looking at myself first, I think, but we all can do a better job of being able to compartmentalize each individual play, whether it's a great play or a frustrating play, and just move on to the next one.
After the game, you had talked about culture changes and changing the culture. I imagine that takes time, changing the culture of an entire building. You guys don't necessarily have time.
No.
So how challenging is that to be trying to do something that takes years and you're trying to do it in days and weeks and months?
I don't know if it does take years. I mean, I think one player sometimes can make a change. I think there's times where one thing can click. It's like the story of cutting down a tree, and it's the final blow that actually fells the tree. But you might not see the first 1,000 hacks at it. Sometimes it just takes that one thing to happen. It could be a speech, before a game, after a game, something during the week that just clicks, and the energy of that click can be contagious. And I think what you do is you try and set up a lot of different things that are part of the structure and the foundation of a winning culture. But until each of those things clicks in, you're fighting against some of the ghosts of years past, and it's in every organization. It's in every season. You have to find that part, but there's just certain cultures that innately have that in it, where it's maybe a little bit easier to access that, but you still have to access it every single year. It doesn't just, you wake up and I'm on the Green Bay Packers and you got this amazing culture. No, you have to put in those things in place, those spikes, in the foundation, and then just anchor those in. So I think there's a lot of things in place. It just needs to completely anchor in, and I think there's some things that happened after the game that were big helpers as far as some of the culture stuff.
What were those?
I can't go into that.
Jeff
said
mentioned us that
Devontae.
Devontae spoke.
Oh, we already talked about it. Yeah. I guess there's not any esoteric conversations, but no. I mean, it was. I won't say exactly what I said because there's some cameras rolling and colorful metaphors involved in how I really felt about the speech. But to paraphrase without using any French, I thought it was the realest speech I'd ever heard in a locker room in 20 years.
Is that surprising? You know him very
Not
well,
surprising
right?
at all.
But he's only been there for 5 days. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you
Like,
mentioned
right?
that. I mean,
Yeah.
he led with that. He
Yeah.
led with that, which I think was important. But there's just certain guys over the years that are, I don't even know what adjective to use is better than this one, but they're just real guys. And when they speak up, you feel it. And I was kind of looking at him when Brick was talking, and Brick was saying some great stuff too, and he's been fantastic. But I just could feel like, Tay's about to say something, and then he started talking, and everybody that was in that locker room felt it. So I drove home with him after the game and just told him how proud I am of what he said in that moment.
You ever see him do anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he did that over the years in Green Bay, but, a lot of times it'd be me talking after a game, or Mercedes, or Aaron Jones, or Charles Woodson, or some of those guys. And he kind of learned, his way over the years. But that was some real, you know what.
How would you assess the locker room just in terms of cohesiveness, being on the same page after that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, again, it's a collective that's made up of individuals. So the individuals make up the collective in a sense that they all have to, on their own, come to the same mindset to hold themselves accountable each week because of their role in the collective. And I think that's the beauty in the sport, is that it takes so many different guys to be on the same page. So we'll see as the week goes on, but it's time to make all the conversations that were said and all the tiny little changes that Jeff has made come to fruition this week and start moving in the right direction.
In terms of finding that looseness that you talked about specifically, I mean, you've been on some teams that made late runs before. How do you do that when you know also in the back of your mind that the margin for error is so slim with your record what it is?
Well, I think you got to take yourself, like I said yesterday, to the worst case scenario and sit with whatever that is in your mind and come to a good place where that's not scary anymore. Then take yourself to the opposite end. What's the highest path for this team? And then in the middle is where you're at right now. And then think about what's it going to take to get to that highest path. And then also, what are the things that are happening right now that are taking you down the path you don't want to go down? And that's what I did for the last 48 hours, was just really think a lot about my role, what I can do better, and how I can be a part of the change needed to get this thing going in the right direction.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.